This video is sponsored by Squarespace.
I'm out here on set producing a documentary with some creative friends of mine behind me. They're just setting up. Although I'm producing today, I'm usually directing and conducting interviews myself. So with that in mind, I wanted to give you guys my tips on interviewing today because some of you I know are still doing this solo, so whether it's for commercial or corporate or a documentary, we're gonna give you the whole rundown. So the thing about interviews is that it's an art. You're a confidant, a friend, a storyteller, a director, and a writer all in one. You need to make your subject feel confident enough that they can be themselves, that they can open up to you on camera. And at the same time, you need to make sure you're getting all of the little audio nuggets you need to tell the story in the way that you've outlined in your script. All the while, not looking at your notes and staying chill and confident. Today, Lauren and Juan are co-directing. So Lauren is conducting the interview while Juan sort of acts as our assistant director, and he's gonna be monitoring the script to make sure that we don't miss a single thing.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Okay. Shooting an interview and conducting one is a conversation. I think people build it up to be this really scary thing with the bright lights and everything. At the end of the day, you're sitting with a subject trying to get their story across. So the main thing that I would say when conducting someone is understanding it's just a conversation, and that if you're nervous, they're gonna be just as nervous. So go into it confidently, understand the nuances of what that person went through in that journey, and that also then translates into having a better, overall interview process, in my opinion.
First of all, practice with someone. Get used to the feeling of what it's like to be behind the camera. And your number one job, just as much as it is to get the story, is to make someone feel comfortable. If you can do that, that's already going above and beyond. Don't forget about the basics. The 5 W's, who, what, where, when, why, and then you can go into the nuances. The art of a good documentary is making it look effortless, like you're just chatting with someone, but there's actually still so much more that happens in pre-production.
Now, contrary to popular belief, you still need a script for documentary filmmaking. You kind of end up reverse engineering your questions in the interview based on that script. That script is still a guideline though, so you have to be open to any changes and new directions that might come up in that interview.
A technicality I want to point out is, as you're asking questions, really make sure that your subject is answering with the start of what you ask. So say, for example, like, let's practice right now. 1, tell us about your favorite part of today.
My favorite part of today was, and then they go off.
And if they don't do that, it's your responsibility to clock that. Either let them finish, depending how long the answer is, that they feel like you're not cutting them off, or say, hey, do you mind repeating your answer to that question? And it's okay to say that. It's digital for a reason.
Asking the subject to rephrase their question in their response ensures that the audience hears a very clear and concise response to their question without the need to see or hear the interviewer. Juan, the co-director, and Nicole, our DOP, actually attended a spin class that Stas was instructing, and that's how they actually met her and heard her story in the first place. But how do you go from that story to a script in the first place?
Me and Nicole originally knew because we were at a spin class here and she kind of spoke on it, and then we just hopped on a call with her and recorded it and went through literally start to finish what the story was. That just allowed us to then get a way better understanding from her words and her experience. We don't want this to sound scripted. We want this to sound as authentic as possible, but you also want to have some control. So we intentionally took the best parts of what she said and the things we thought built the story the best. I remember taking the sentence, putting it on a page, and then kind of fixing it up to make it sound more conversational. So then when we talk to her, we can actually lead into those questions and get those answers that we want.
I love that I'm looking at you give this answer as I can see Stas over your shoulder listening to what we did for your upcoming interview.
The easiest thing you can do if you do not have any previous engagement with this person, they have no idea who you are, when you get in there, my name's Juan, nice to meet you, I'm gonna be conducting. Treat them like a human. Doesn't matter who they are, what their status is in society, what the story is, treat them like a human and you're gonna get the best result.
I'm entering myself into this answer. I had a whole routine that I would go through every time I sat down with an interview subject, because sometimes I would be interviewing like 5 to 10 people in a day that I just met. I would sit them down, we're trying to get levels. I'd ask them what they had for breakfast that day. And immediately they feel like the subconscious thing that you're doing is they're like, this is a right answer. Now I feel I've said this in front of a camera. The rest can't be that hard. Like they don't know that that's what they're thinking, but that's kind of the mentality. You've made that first question easy and now they're done. Then I go into, this is just a conversation between you and me. Don't look at the camera, pretend it's not even here. All the ums and ahs are gonna go away in editing. I just want you to think that like you and I are chatting. That's all. Okay, bye.
Okay, we keep emphasizing how important it is to make your interview subject feel comfortable because that's the way you're gonna get the most natural and authentic responses. Looking down at your questions and constantly breaking that eye contact is going to not only distract them, it'll take them out of the conversation, out of the moment with you, and it'll, worst of all, remind them that they're on camera, and then they may just go back to being nervous all over again.
You enjoying this video? Cool. Couple things I'm gonna ask you to do then. 1, maybe subscribe to my channel. 2, listen to me talk about Squarespace for a minute. Thanks. I used Squarespace to make my website. I legitimately did, even before they paid me to do this ad. The template I chose was clean and stylish, and I literally built it myself. I really struggle with design, but Squarespace made it super easy for me to showcase my portfolio beautifully. The platform is super easy for me to customize, update regularly, and I can get analytics about the purchases made on my digital products through my online store. And I run my own business, so I don't have time to learn a whole new platform. All right, so head over to Squarespace for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, you can use this code right here to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thanks, Squarespace. Now back to the video.
For you beginners out there, we're gonna go through a basic lighting setup that you can use in any of your interviews, and then we're going to walk you through today's lighting plan and why we chose it.
If you are shooting a one-person interview, a lot of people use the key fill hair. Essentially, what we are trying to do is to make a very soft key, and this is the one light here. We have a hair light that is a tube light just behind her, which is basically separating her from the background. So you see like a splash of light behind her head. We don't exactly have a fill, but this room has mirrors, so you get a lot of return from the other side. Because this is kind of a bigger room, I wanted to accentuate the bikes because that's a really key piece to the story. So I wanted to throw some pops of color and basically paint light where there is darkness because this whole room is black. So it's kind of a benefit because you get to really control exactly where the lights are going. You don't get a lot of bounce, which is what would happen if this room was white. Because this is kind of an intimate interview, we're talking about really personal things and it's about her story, it's as a story. There's a lot of, I guess, intense moments and also moments of happiness. So the director and the person that understands the story also has to chat heavily with the cinematographer to see what look you're going for, because essentially you want the story to match the feeling. The lighting and the angles that we're going for should communicate well with each other, like they should match up. I'm basically trying to avoid what we would normally do for a commercial. And with a commercial, you would do something very soft, so lots of diffusion. You want to spread the light a lot and still be intentional with it, but you want to be more clean. If you want to go for that clean look, you'd actually even probably choose a different location than this. It comes down to so many different logistical things, not just lighting, but you'd probably want to choose something that has natural windows or something that has actually like white walls or something with more character than just something like a black room like this. So those are the kind of differences between the two.
So we're setting up a little bit of audio. We're setting up a boom mic. It's always nice for these interviews to have some redundancy when it comes to capturing your audio. So we have an overhead boom. This doesn't actually have to be on talent. It also is gonna sound a little bit different. It's a directional microphone, so we're going to put this over top of our subject a little bit in the front, and you want the mic pointing right at their mouth. We're also going to be close miking talent, so we'll be putting a lav mic underneath Stas's shirt and clipping it somewhere. We'll find out. That way, if something sounds kind of funny or there's some interference with either one of the microphones, you have a safety track. Extra bonus, it sounds really good when you blend the sound of the two mics together because you have that close mic and you have the sound of the entire room, and it's just a very full sound. That's covering audio today and what I would recommend all of you guys do for your interviews. Oh, and we're also recording it into a H5 Zoom because this has 2 channels. You can use any Zoom recorder or external recorder, and then I believe the Rode is going to be going directly into camera, but we'll find out. I didn't ask Juan.
Now, when it comes to shooting interviews, there are a few different things you want to keep in mind. First of all, I recommend shooting at least 2 camera angles. The first one would be either a wide or a medium shot, and then your second would be some kind of close-up. This allows for more seamless cuts in post.
Today we're doing more of a classical interview, so we're again shooting shadow side, and the eye line, which is the direction of where your talent is actually facing, is slightly off to the camera. We have 4 different camera angles. We have one that is your classic regular interview angle. This is coming from the side with the most shadow. Then we have another camera that is right down the barrel, and those will be very specific shots during her interview where it's a little bit more like personal and intense of a sentence. We have a third one that is capturing hands and gestures and like more details of her body, a little bit closer up. I think that's an 85. And then the last angle, which is kind of like a wild card angle, this is a top down, which usually you don't use. It's supposed to make your character feel really small. So if you can imagine like someone big and important like looking down at someone, you're gonna feel like really small in the frame. So those moments where she feels small and isolated, we want to translate that onto the image. So essentially that's what the cinematographer's job is a translator. You're looking at the idea and what the director wants and the story and saying, okay, how can I translate that into the image? How can I paint the light? And what kinds of tools am I going to use to actually make that reality?
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you learned a little bit on your intro to interviews. The intro to interviews. Wow, I should have really titled the video that. Anyways, if you like this video, please like it down below, subscribe if you're not already, and hit the notification bell to get notified for all future videos. And I will see you guys in the next one. We actually have to start shooting right now because I already made everyone behind. So